What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Game of the Year 2019 Conversations Part 2. We've gotten through 2 categories already. We got the last one. You know, it's very good that we start with biggest impact because, you know, we always have biggest impact is always positive.
Yeah, we get the nice fluffy things, bringing everybody up, and then we just pull out the shotgun and end it.
Yeah, now we get to dig our hands into the muck and pull out our picks for biggest fail of 2019.
Sure, we'll call it that. Some other people may have some other words for this.
Biggest fail, the rundown, guys, so you understand what we're picking. This is awarded to a game or event that has added controversial or divisive opinions and attitudes within the gaming industry. That is a very nice way of saying it. But just moves that we saw either from a game or from an event that we were like, what the hell? Why? This doesn't make any sense. What were you thinking? That is square in this category. It's one of our favorite ones. We get to rant a lot. I think a lot of our rants in Game of the Year are in this category.
Yeah.
So we are back to you going first.
Yep.
You've got your 2 runners up. Please, Will, lay it down for me. What have you got?
So, we're going to go ahead and start this off with a bang. Fallout 76's paid subscription woes. I feel like that says a whole lot right there. When this game came out, it had problems, and we talked about that last year. Here's the thing. For some reason, the guys over at Bethesda think it's a great idea to keep digging that hole to China. Because, Jesus Christ, they promised features in a game, haven't delivered on them yet, and then when they find a time that all these people who bought our $60 game, that, you know, some people in Germany were saying, you know what, you're buying the bundle with the Fallout 76 in it, let's duct tape another one to it just so you get 2.
That was funny.
Know, this is how bad the game was doing, that they were literally having to give away copies because no one was buying it because of how bad it was. The game was utterly broken, and then even better, the other part of the problem that Fallout 76 has experienced this year is they have decided that instead of applauding their users who fix bugs, like they did with Elder Scrolls V Skyrim and all the other Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games before, the people who actually finish Bethesda's games, since Bethesda can't finish their own games, we're going to leave id and Doom over here on the side because I think they're the only competent programmers at that company at this point. And it's a shame to say this. And I'm going to tell you how I really feel. I honestly think at this point, nobody should be buying games that Bethesda makes, period. Because they cannot release a finished game. I'm done with them. And this is the reason why. They promised features to people at launch saying, hey, these will eventually be rolled out for everybody. What they didn't tell you is they come as part of a paid subscription model that they decide to enact, and it has the same subscription cost as 2 of the most popular MMOs ever to be made. One is World of Warcraft, and the other one is Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn / Shadowbringers.
How much was it?
I believe it's
$100 a year?
$100 a year, $12.99 a month. If you do it outright, if you do it monthly, it's $15. So literally the same amount of money you pay to play those games, except you get a half-baked game that, they were adding features in who they promised these features to everybody. Then on top of all of that, they said, you know what, they're going to make it part of Fallout first. And, you know, we're going to let these people have their own private realms, except they're not private. And it gets better with a lot of this other stuff going on. You get unlimited storage. One exact issue with all of this. If you make a private realm for your friends, and your friends want to play and you're not logged on, they cannot access it. Another issue. Because of all of this garbage around this and the features that are being rolled into this that were promised to everybody else, it has now caused... let me back up. If you do Fallout first, you get a special player icon for your character. That player icon has now become a target on all these people's back because the rest of the player base is now targeting them and killing them and griefing them. Because these features were taken from everybody and put over here into this paid subscription model for a game that doesn't deserve it, a game that shouldn't be sold, and a game that, honestly, they should just give everybody their money back. It gets better. All of this is going on. And we're going to go to... Well, let's see. I'm going to first go ahead and say out. This is an article from Forbes by Paul Tassi. Fallout 76 now has a premium monthly subscription fee. No, seriously. That is the headline from Paul Tassi.
I read Forbes just for Paul Tassi.
You know, it's literally... And then we go over here to Polygon. Players say Fallout 76's subscription service is busted. And so what they mean by busted is the things they're promised as part of that subscription are not being delivered. So long requested private servers don't seem to deliver on what they're promising. And as far as the private servers aren't actually private servers. That's the problem. They're telling you you're going to get this and you don't get this. So the scrap box and unlimited capacity storage space where you can dump everything in there, you lose it all.
If you don't stay subscribed, ooh man.
Yeah, all kinds of garbage. Polygon has a great article on this. Long story short, this game right here proves that the people over at Bethesda have no business making video games, and honestly, right now, the only competent developers I see there are working over at id.
Man.
And because you get Doom. All right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, the reason they're not private is that when you log out, it changes.
It's instanced. Instead of an actual server blade dedicated to this person.
Okay.
That's why.
That's why.
Whereas in World of Warcraft, you have servers that you sign into said server. And it's a server blade somewhere. Yeah. Or series of virtual machines on multiple... Technology's changed in a long time.
Yeah.
But, long story short, now, here's the great part and what really makes me upset about Fallout 76.
Tell us how you really feel.
They have people who are so passionate about this game and put thousands of hours into fixing this game and modding it and trying to make it into something great. Well, I'm trying to find the article so I can quote it exactly.
Okay.
But these people, they were trying to submit these bugs as reports saying, hey, here's how you make this bug happen. This is what we found to Bethesda. Their accounts were banned. After you put all this time into the game and you're saying, hey, I found these bugs over here. This is how we reported it. This is how we would suggest fixing it. These people have been banned. Yes. It makes no sense.
What?
Yes, hang on.
Oh my god.
Hang on, where is it? Yeah, so, and, like, it made, yeah, Fallout 76 modders banned. Bethesda game loses support. Hang on, where is it? Yeah, so once again, Fallout 76 is centered across crosshairs of criticism, blah, blah, blah. So there were a couple things to Creation Club. After sending a bug report to Bethesda, the modder learned that the account they used to bug test the game has been banned for an undetermined period of time. All that seems now, just in recent notes, people who mod Fallout 76 or even bug test the game are being banned with little recourse for the player. It all started when a modder came out on Reddit that he was banned from playing Fallout 76, the creator of Map 76. It's an interactive map online that people are using to be able to see, okay, cool, this is where I saw this is where I saw this. He's making fan resources to make this game better, to help support their community, and they're banning people like him. And this is why I don't want to support Bethesda at all, period, full stop. And there's a couple of them out there talking about this. Lord. But, yeah. It's...
I mean, I'm sure all of our picks, there are plenty of articles that you guys can definitely look up.
Here's another Game Informer one. And they're asking people who were banned from Fallout 76 to write personal essays to be able to get back in, if they do decide to allow you back in.
Yeah, no thanks. I'll just go play something else.
Your game's not worth the $60 because you're having to have people fix that game. This has been a Bethesda issue for a long time, but the mods have made it fun. Games like Skyrim are fun because people have made whole other worlds that you can mod into this game and then go explore it. These are literally things the fans have made to add on to your game and make it something special.
Would we really enjoy Skyrim if we didn't have a dragon acting and dressing like Macho Man Randy Savage?
Going, oh yeah!
Like, come on, guys, come on.
No, actually, my favorite one is Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes.
Where it's literally, choo-choo, boosh. It just spits fire out the front. Like, there's crazy stuff like that, but then there's also mods where they up the resolution and they fix problems in the game and they make it so it's a much more enjoyable experience. Yeah. There's mods where, and man, you know what? How great would it be if you could start somewhere else on the map and it randomly spawns you? Crazy stuff like that. Not necessarily bad things. There's things where it changes the dialogue or upgrades the armor resolution and makes the houses look cooler. And so there's these cool mods out there. These are from the players making this game better because they love it. Not Bethesda finishing the game and fixing all the bugs that, guess what? If you go to download it right now on Xbox or PlayStation, are still there. And I'm done. This is ridiculous. You shouldn't support a developer who ships broken games and never fixes them.
Starting off with a bang here. That's a runner-up. God.
Oh, dude.
That's a runner-up. I'm scared to know what the winner is.
Yeah, hang on.
If you want to call them the winner.
Oh, no. It's the winner. It's the winner, and we're going to shove you down into the horse muck. Yeah, man. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. The other run-up I got is Fallout 76. Not Fallout 76. God, that's still in my brain.
Take a minute. Take a second. It's okay.
It's Anthem and its launch.
Anthem's launch, okay.
And my issue with Anthem and its launch is not the game. It's how BioWare Edmonton has handled the management around said game leading into this. Because from all the background stuff we've seen going into this game, it is their fault. It is not BioWare Austin's fault. I think we can agree on that.
Look, I read the Jason Schreier Kotaku article.
Look at what I have pulled up right here. The Jason Schreier Kotaku article.
I read it in its entirety. It's like 15-minute read, but it is 100% worth it. Yeah. You are not wrong.
Yes. So I'm going to just pull some quotes here real quick. Hang on. Yeah.
Oh, like the first couple paragraphs are juicy with quotes.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to read this, but we should include a link to this.
Oh, we will. Oh, yeah. That's,
old Schreier needs some love. He's only had 1.8 million views on this article.
That's not enough.
Yeah,
not enough.
No. Those rookie numbers. We need to pump them up.
We do.
All right. No, in all seriousness, it wasn't even supposed to be called Anthem. Just days before the annual E3 convention of June 2017, when the storied studio BioWare would reveal its newest game, the plan had been to go with a different title, Beyond. They'd even printed out Beyond t-shirts for the staff. I love that. It's like, no, it's Beyond. It makes me think of the podcast from IGN.
Beyond.
Yeah. All right. Then, less than a week before LA press conference held by BioWare's parent company, Electronic Arts, word came down that securing the rights to the trademark would be too difficult. Beyond was ruled out. The leadership team quickly switched to one of their backup options, Anthem. But whereas Beyond had been indicative of what BioWare hoped the game would be, you go out beyond the walls of your fort and into the dangerous wilds around you, Anthem didn't really mean much. Everybody was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. What does this have to do with anything? Said one person who worked on the game just days before the game's announcement. The team at BioWare had a brand new name that nobody really understood. That right there, your people don't even understand the name around your game. How are they going to be inspired enough to make said game?
Yeah.
Not to mention management mishaps. They had, 6 years.
It was 6 years because they started right after 3?
Yeah, Mass Effect 3. So essentially, they took 6 years to essentially tabletop this whole idea and storyboard and come up with ideas and all that. And then the actual core game that launched was made in a mad rush of overtime and just Red Bull fueled rage and hatred in 12 months.
It was 18. It
was 18 months. I'm sorry. I'll come correct there. But yeah, how many people lost work-life balance in the fact that they were working non-stop for 18 months to ship that turd, and the only reason it shipped at all like that is because they squandered 6 years of time. Imagine what this game would have been had BioWare Edmonton not mismanaged this entire development cycle, just like they did with Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm seeing a theme here. Meanwhile, you then say, oh, cool, and then give it to Austin to clean up, but you don't want to trust them in the main game development cycle, even though they've been working on the Star Wars MMO forever. And they know, and they know how to handle an actual live services game, which is Anthem is. It's a live services game. It's not an MMO, but it's a live services game.
But Will, what about Dragon Age 4?
That's so cute. That's so cute. Nobody needs to buy that game. This studio needs to be closed, or Edmonton needs to be closed. Keep BioWare Austin around. No, in 100%, in all honesty, I am so upset because this game has such potential, and they squandered their resources and time until at what point that the head of EA said, you know what? We need to ship this. It has to happen. We can't keep putting money into this.
Especially when you read the article, it wasn't like you knew, like, when you're hearing that and you're like, okay, it's not the executive's fault. They're basically saying, I've given you 6 years.
I need to see a return on investment. Because at the end of the day, we have shareholders who are literally sitting here and be like, look, we're part of the company's ownership at this point. We need to make money here because that's what being a investing company is on the stock market. You're trading, guess what? You got to make that money.
Yep.
You can't be like some of these, like, what was it, Epic Games? Aren't they privately held? Oh, no, it's not Epic Games. It's there's a game publisher recently came out and was talking all this crap about stuff going on with China and everything, and said that's not going to happen here. Of the whole Blitzchung controversy.
Riot.
No, Riot is they're fully owned by the Chinese.
You're right. Hell, who was it? I don't remember.
Anyway, they're not privately held, so the CEO can't come out and say some crap and be like, guess what? It is what it is. I own the company. That's not how this works. So the CEO of EA has to come out and say, look, these other games that we've made, like Battlefront and all this other stuff, yeah, they've been critically met with outrage when it's earned, or, yeah, actually Battlefield 1 was a pretty good game. But, we've had these other games that DICE has been working on. They've been keeping you afloat. You need to start putting your share in here. And then they ship this turd. I'm sorry. You know what's crazy to me? The fact that the people working on this game didn't know what the vision of the game was until it was announced on E3 stage.
Oh my God. When I was like, ugh.
When I read that, I was so disappointed. And I was like, man, this is absolutely nuts. And then the best part is, most of the core BioWare audience didn't even want this game. They saw it and were like, we're not buying it. They wanted Dragon Age. They wanted
they love their single player experiences.
Yeah, and this is not that. And that's the thing that I think BioWare messed up on, is they were chasing the Destiny money instead of looking at the fact that, hey, at the end of the day, what are we known for and what are we good at? What do we have to come back from? What turd did we just ship? Because Andromeda got real bad ratings. They fixed some of it. They didn't fix everything.
I haven't played it. I want to jump back and play it again.
I mean, we both have it on PC. So
yeah, I got it for $5 on the. Like, yeah, for $5 I'll pay. I'll buy that for $1.
Remember when we both bought it digitally at launch on PS4? No going back from that.
I remember.
But here's the thing: we got suckered by Mass Effect and the branding there. We got pulled in. There was a problem. Anthem comes out, and there are so many issues with the way that game was handled. That game right now still upsets me because as much as I want to love that game, and there's really cool content creators around that game, there are issues. They have a special event come through. All the currency is killed off at the end of the event. What happens with all your stuff from Iron Banner and Destiny? Rolls to the next Iron Banner. Like, there are just little things that are so anti-player in that game, just as far as a regular practice.
It's like the game is... You're trying to play it, and the game is like, no, don't play it. Like, it's pushing you away.
And it's one of those, it's like, when I saw that, I was so disappointed because it's like, wait, no, this just makes sense. Like, you've earned this currency in this game. Hold off. It'll come back around. It's like World of Warcraft and the Darkmoon Fair tokens. They're still there.
Yeah. They sit and you're like, you've got this much, so when it comes back around, you can
tab. And, it's literally one of those simple things. Is like, you don't have to take away what the player has earned. If they put their time, sweat, and energy into this game to earn this digital currency that they didn't pay for, they should get to keep it because they earned it. If you're going to take it away, they need to be compensated for it. Period. To just take it away and say, oh, try again. It's not going to make people play your game. Your player base is already so limited that doing that is literally just going to shoot yourselves in the foot. I hope they fix it. I really do. But right now, I'm so disappointed in BioWare. I'm so disappointed in... Honestly, EA's leadership for not coming in and firing people that needed to be fired. They had no business running this company.
They brought Casey Hudson back. They're trying.
I know, and you know what? You can do what you can, but also the whole idea that the developers over at BioWare have this attitude in Edmonton that no, we're the real BioWare, and the guys over in Austin and the other teams, they're not real BioWare. They're
Screw
B
that.
teams.
Screw
You
that.
know what? That is toxic. Honestly, you guys should have to go through the same problem that Riot Games is going through right now with their whole lawsuits around equal pay for women. Yeah, you guys should be doing that just for harassment and workplace toxicity.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not cool with that. I'm not okay with your company, and I won't be buying any more of your games.
Agree with that.
Unless they come out of Austin.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be a toxic asshole. I'm trying.
That's why this is the perfect section of Game of the Year to be that guy.
All right, you're up. You got your runners up. I think you know what my primary one is.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, yeah.
So, pull my notes up here. Biggest fail. Okay. So yeah, I've kind of finally solidified my picks here. Runners up. Number 1. Guess what? I'm on the Anthem bandwagon. Anthem's launch woes, and I didn't want to put this on here. I was, if you listen at the beginning of the year, Will was here. We had a list like most anticipated games for 2020. Anthem was on that list. I was so hyped for it. I was like, I can't wait. I'm so excited. Everything I'm seeing, I'm covering. I'm ready to play this game. I'm super hyped. I'm not even going to go cover any of the stuff he said. Basically, go copy paste most of the stuff that Will said.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to steal your thunder.
No. Believe me, you're totally fine. There are extra stuff that I can add in here as well. Like, I remember one point you didn't bring out. Let's not forget about the split launch that they had. So the way they staggered their launch, were like if you had EA access, if you paid for like the top tier subscription service, you got to play a week early. Earlier than everybody else, and then so it came out on the 22nd of February. You got to play on the 15th. They had a beta like a few weeks before. I played in the beta. It was rough. The first week, so many people were excited for this game, signed up for EA access, jumped in, and it was just a clusterfuck of epic proportion. Servers were up and down. People couldn't load into the game. I had game problems where you were trying to load in, go play through, you're blasting off into a dungeon. You shoot off, it disconnects you, couldn't get on, kept getting error messages and stuff. You remember my frustration I had trying to get into
livid, guys, and private messages, man. Hang on, you were trying to run it off of a hard drive, and your load times were minute plus.
You guys are like, oh yeah, we're already in, we're going through. I'm like, dude, I'm still at the loading screen.
Yeah, I had it installed on a solid state drive. He had it installed on his gaming hard drive. Cool, boot over here, games over here. It literally minute plus, and our buddy Steven and I are already in, and we're like, where you at, Cam?
Yeah, and I'm still waiting at the loading screen. I had so many disconnects, the loading problems, the performance issues and whatnot that came out with this game. It basically, for the people who paid top tier, EA access money to get early access to this, you were basically a beta tester. Mm-hmm. And that's not right. That is criminal. Borderline criminal, in my opinion. And the fact that then you had the official launch for everybody coming in, and it just made everything worse because more people were hitting the servers. They didn't have enough server space, so you were getting timed out. You were getting booted out. And they had problems for weeks. The problem is that there's generally a lack of content. It was just even now, I think from its launch in February to now, there really wasn't. There was only one. There've been two kind of big expansion stuff, the game plan they had for their content layout for the next couple of months. That got ditched within the first month, and.
To be fair, it needed to.
Yes, to be fair, it needed to, because they basically said we got to ditch this because we got to fix the game. And now, not only piggybacking off the fact that their team spent 6 years trying to make this game. They only started really building the game in the last 18 months, and now they've basically spent the majority of the year in the background doing whatever they need to do to make the game great. I mean, like I said earlier, there are rumors of them coming out with a 2.0 version, very similar to what No Man's Sky did in Hello Games. But what does that meant for fans of the game right now is like you're playing a lot through the same missions. You're playing a lot through the same dungeons. You really, as for a live services game, there haven't really been many updates. When the Cataclysm first launched, it was cool, but it still felt just like it was fun for the little bit of time I played with it, but it still felt disjointed. It still didn't feel right. It felt rushed. I didn't even play Ice Tide, which I don't know if it's still active or not. Maybe I'll find out later.
Don't try to keep any of the currency, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. But like the fact that there have been very rare updates to this game. They've had some big patch updates and whatnot lately, but because of their bungledness for the launch, they've basically spent the whole year trying to fix the game.
Well, let's clarify. BioWare Austin has been trying to fix the game.
Yeah,
Edmonton's working on another game now.
Which
you shouldn't buy.
Oh, here you go, BioWare Austin. Take this game. We're going to work on Dragon Age 4.
By the way, they did that with the Star Wars MMO to BioWare Austin too, by the way.
It's just like, I love this game. This game does have a place in my heart. But I cannot justifiably play this game in the state it's in. It's more stable now. It doesn't load as poorly as before. The game plays and blasts, playing as Iron Man, you're flying through and blasting through. It's great. It's a blast. And I'm on the Anthem Reddit. Whenever updates pop up, I'm like, ooh, what new updates, new weapons and stuff. But like, the Grandmaster system was completely broken at the start.
Still is.
The fact that why am I at the top tier of difficulty and I'm getting low level tier like whites and blues?
Even Destiny doesn't do that.
That makes no damn sense. Period. And I will definitely say that the launch of Anthem crushed me. Like, it was one of the few games in 2019 that I was genuinely excited for, could not wait to play, and then this whole process has happened. The launch of the game, the huge expose by Schreier and Kotaku, like, it just hurt, and it still hurts. Like, I still have the game installed, but it just sits there, and it sucks. I'm playing all these other games, but like, it's like, man, Anthem, I want to play you, but I'm waiting for the trumpets to sound when somebody online says, hey, we got big update to Anthem. They're fixing this, and this big overhaul to whatever they need to do. It's just like you said. Well, I echo everything you said. Like, Anthem, it just hurts. And I didn't want to have to put you on this list, but there was no way around it. I'm sitting here thinking like, no, that was a huge fail, a huge bungle by that team, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Number 2.
Man.
I'll make sure I'm saying this right. Yes. Number 2 on my runner-up for biggest fail, the Google Stadia launch.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that gaming?
Yo.
No, I'm sorry. I saw, before you jump in, the best way to describe how to look at this game, as far as a platform goes. They tried to load Destiny, hit the space bar, and then 2 seconds later, you see the guy in Destiny jump.
Oh, really? Have you?
That was a Forbes video.
I didn't like it.
It wasn't Paul Tassi. It was somebody else, like, who had a video, like, they pointed a camera at this dude. He hit his spacebar. They're playing at the Forbes offices. You know they have business class connections. Mm-hmm. They're not messing around because outputting content is their job.
Yep.
Spacebar. Not. Yep. As you hit the button.
When Google came out and said they were releasing Stadia, there was a lot of hope. I know, like, now that we have the technology, like, streaming is becoming like a very cool thing to see, very much to how like VR kind of started coming up a few years back.
Right.
So very interesting. I remember us watching the keynote. Like, ooh, this is interesting.
No, not even that. You played Assassin's Creed on it before it was
I
called
did.
Stadia.
I played Project Stream, and I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Like I'm playing Odyssey. Like
And the latency wasn't that bad then.
it wasn't.
I saw you play it.
You're like, oh, it doesn't look half bad. Oh, you need a 25 megabit connection, and then they say, hey, Project Stream is now Project Stream is Google Stadia. Here's what we're doing. We've got all these cool, nifty ideas. Everything's going to be powered on these like custom servers with. Didn't they have Epic Rome, Radeon chips?
They did at launch. Essentially, it's a mix between Radeon Instinct cards, which are the server version of like the Radeon 7, and AMD Epic. It wasn't the newest Rome chips. No, it was Rome because Milan's coming out.
Yep,
that's what it is.
But like they talked up about like how boom, all these servers 4K 60 frames per second. If you've got the right connection speed, you're gonna. But then. Can
I say something when you said 4K 60? By the way, people have done the tests on gigabit connections and multi-gigabit connections. I believe even over at Linus Tech Tips where they have a 10 gig connection. They actually have a 10 gig connection. Guess what? It's not outputting at 4K. It's 1080p medium upscaled. Yep. It's not true 4K. Sorry, continue.
No. We'll get back to that. It gets better. But and then we get the general idea, and then we have to wait for specifics. And then we find out, hey, there's going to be a free version, but that's not coming out until 2020. 2019, if you want to get into Google Stadia, you'll have to pay for the Founders Edition, which is $9.99 a month. You'll have to buy the Founders Pack, which is $130. It comes with the controller. You get 3 free months of Premiere, the $9.99 a month plan. You get a buddy pass so your friend can join you. You get a Google Chromecast so you can plug up to your TV, and everything's going to work wirelessly and stuff, and then it's going to be great. And then as we get closer and closer to launch, more and more stuff starts falling off the bottom of Google Stadia. We find out that it'll work wirelessly, but only if you're hooked. I think if you're plugged into the controller to a specific model Chromecast.
It's a Chromecast Ultra HD, the UHD ones. They have to ship with the kit.
Yes.
And it gets better. They've been overheating.
Yes. Like if you have a Chromecast already, it will not work wirelessly. You'll have to plug it in. If you're playing on a phone, a tablet, or a PC,
it has to be the
plugged
Blizzard.
in.
No, it gets better. Right now, if you're playing on a phone or a tablet, it has to be a Google Pixel.
Yes, you can only on Google Pixel, no iOS devices, no
and
other.
Not even the Pixel 4, the Pixel 3 series.
Yeah, like no.
Not their new phone.
No other Android devices can use it. You can the selection of games. The initial launch only had 12, most of which you've already played. Based on customer backlash, they expanded it to 22. Got some more games in there. Like a quarter of the launch games are all the Tomb Raider games. You got Destiny 2, but as you described, people have complained about latency issues and problems. Other problems that have cropped up. Darksiders Genesis, one of the big exclusive games that they got, came out. Get hyped. It's on Google Stadia. It's one of the platforms that they've paid money for. But guess what? If you talk about this specific issue, if you want to play the game, you got to buy it, and you got to buy it. It's $10 more than it is on Steam. Doesn't make any sense. Why? That doesn't help this budding tech cause at all. The other fact is the point that you have to, even though you're paying that $9.99 a month, that is basically so you can get 4K 60 frames, depending on your connection. You still have to buy the game. Mm-hmm. Now, Google Stadia, if you're a pro member, you get a couple of games trickled in for free. You do get Destiny 2 for free, but guess what? You can't play with anybody else. I don't think it works on cross-save.
It works with cross-save.
It does, okay.
But, and there's a big but here. Actually, I'm going to look this up. Essentially, it does not have the ability to play with consoles or with PC. It is its own thing. Now, here's the problem. Bungie releases their concurrent player numbers for each platform.
And you're gonna pull that tweet up, please. It's embarrassing, but everything in what hurts about two things that hurt about this and Google Stadia's complete bungling of this launch is that number one, they've got an executive team that people would die for over there. Phil Harrison of Xbox fame is there. Jade Raymond is leading their studio charge to get exclusive games on the platform. Like, big name people, they know better. They 100% know
Here's
better.
the problem. It's not Phil Harrison's fault. It's the over-promising that happened. Google was marketing negative latency, which is physically impossible. You cannot have negative latency. It's 0 and up. We cannot travel back in time after we hit a button and make this thing happen. It can't be done. It is not possible without time travel. Not going to happen. And they marketed negative latency. It is bullshit. But it gets better. Good. So, the Destiny Stadia numbers, by the way, Destiny Shadowkeep comes with the version of Stadia that's available. Yep. So, the people who have it and have played it are here. And their player counts were essentially, and this is, they were mined through Charlemagne Bot, which has access to the Destiny backend stuff. So as of November 20th, after everything was going crazy with Shadowkeep, the biggest launch they've had all year. All right. The Destiny Stadia players count that have logged into their accounts are 9,960, 0.7% of the entire player base. Now, it gets better.
People wonder why you're having trouble matchmaking in Destiny 2 on Stadia. There's your reason.
On the same day, 1.37 million players logged into Destiny 2 across all platforms. 550,000 of them were on Steam. Naturally, there are potential players on other platforms, but ultimately that tells you Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, they're the three big ones. They're not changing. PlayStation's bigger than Xbox because it had the exclusives. But here's the thing, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, you can sign into your Bungie account on all the platforms and bring your character wherever you want. So literally, if you made a Bungie account with Stadia, and you're like, oh, this is great, and I have a decent enough computer at the house to play this on, I just wanted to play it on the go on your phone, I guess you could do some basic quests. But you're going to have to be real damn patient, and you're going to have Google Pixel. And it gets even better, though. Still going to have to plug that controller in.
You still have to have it wired in. They said that the wireless feature is coming soon. They don't know when. An app for iOS devices is coming soon. They don't know when. This is basically, if you are currently a Google Stadia owner and you paid for this, you are basically a paying beta tester.
It gets better
for the service.
On Destiny, PvE is where everyone's at, because on November 20th, Stadia had 44 players in the Crucible, 13 players in Gambit, and 52 players in Raids. There's barely 100 people in non-PvE content. So you're going to get into Crucible, and you're going to fight the same people over and over and over again. And you know what? There are times where if you're the best player there, great, you're going to wreck shop. But that's going to get boring after a while. And how fun is Gambit if it's the same people? We've had great nights in Gambit where we just keep bouncing between different groups. Yep. And we don't run into the same people, and it's a blast. And there's sometimes where we keep playing against the same people, and it's still a blast, even though we're losing. Yeah. Like, we've had nights where we get destroyed, and there are nights where we crush. But it's because we have a big player base. And they're like, okay, you're not doing this well here. We can try to match you with these people instead, based on whatever algorithm they have. And that's cool. But the algorithm doesn't mean jack if there's no one there to play with.
And it just... Google Stadia... number one, the executive team. I told you there were two reasons why this is on my list. Two big reasons. The number two reason is that this is streaming tech. And this is the future. And we made the comment earlier. Sometimes you don't have to be first as long as you're the best. And Google Stadia came out first, and it was supposed to be the benchmark to show how awesome this tech is, and it's legitimately awesome from the early tests that I've played. But the fact that you're coming out, bumbling this launch, there's all these different tiers and stuff, there's these different pricing. I didn't even get to the point that Borderlands 3 is now on Google Stadia, but it is based on a build from October.
So it has none of the patches that fix things. It has none of the DLC available. And the worst part is, with everything going on, you can't take that game and play it with anybody else.
And you still have to
It's full price.
You pay for that on that platform in addition to your $9.99 a month subscription.
How much did we just pay for Borderlands 3 on Xbox?
We got it for under $20.
No, it was $20 before tax because Redbox.
Yeah.
They're closing their gaming division down, and we're like, hey, Cam, you want to play Borderlands together?
And even taking that away, if you got it during Christmas, it was $30 to $40 during Christmas, and you got all the patches. You have options to get the season pass.
It gets better. If you're not afraid to jump on the Epic Game Store, they're giving you a $10 coupon right now. You can get the game for $28.
Bam. Like
Legit brand new PC download, go.
I in my rant on Google Stadia, but Google Stadia was just, it was cool tech stuff that was really exciting. It was like, we're hoping to, hey, we're going to push the industry, continue to push the industry forward for gaming with this technology, and it comes out and just falls flat on its face. And now all of our hope, like Microsoft and Project xCloud are taking a much better approach to this, with Phil saying, hey, it's in beta. You know, we're like, from what I've heard, their software is better than, and it's in beta. They're planning that Game Pass games you'll be able to play on.
Here's the best part:
xCloud.
They have said Game Pass games will be on xCloud. They have also said that, hey, you know what? If you don't live near a Microsoft server cluster, you can use your own Xbox as a server. If you don't have an Xbox, you can then pay to access one of ours on the cloud.
Yeah.
Like, they're actually taking 4 Xboxes and put per server blade, it's 4 Xbox One S's. So they found a way to fit them in there, just board level stuff, not cases and all that jazz. Because you only need the 1S All Digital Edition motherboards. Let's be real. That's probably why the All Digital Edition came out, was because, oh yeah, we need to make all these boards anyway. We could sell this
on the cheap.
Yeah. Some people got an Xbox One S for $150 for Christmas, and you know what? That's a heck of a deal.
It is.
You have people showing you that there's a way to do it right. Not even that. I can't believe I'm going to say this. PlayStation Now is a better service than Stadia, and I can't stand Sony's services right now. I can't. And Sony, a traditional Japanese company who is not about hardcore innovation on that front, they're about hardcore innovation in game telling. Essentially they're storytellers. They're not, like, at the end of the day,
they're not service people.
No, they tell stories, and they made some of the best stories in the last decade, hands down. Like, they are some of the best storytellers on the planet, and yet they have a better service than Google, who is a services company. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, those are my runners up: Anthem and Google Stadia launch.
I'm sorry to jump in so much.
No, please. That's part of this conversation. Like, I figure, especially in this one, we're gonna have some overlap. So we got our runners up out of the way. Your winner for biggest fail. Who are you going with?
All right, so I'm gonna preface before I announce who it is. This is the only game company this year that I know of that on the same topic had the New York Times, The Verge, CNET, Time Magazine, all right, CBS News, Business Insider, Vox Media, Polygon, PC Gamer, IGN, The Guardian, all right, GameIndustry.biz, Kotaku, and PC Gamer. Oh, sorry, I already said PC Gamer. I got multiple articles pulled up here talking about the same damn subject. I am wearing a StarCraft shirt right now for those of you on video. You should know where my loyalties lie. I've got Horde logos everywhere in my life. And yet at the same time, it's goddamn Blizzard. They piss me off so much with this Hong Kong shit.
Dude, you were so...
I was going off on Twitter. I was on everywhere. And the only reason I am so mad about this particular situation, and I'm still mad, it's a seething hatred at this point. And I love this company, and that's why it pisses me off, is they were built in America on American freedoms and values. They are able to succeed on this planet because of American freedoms and values. Period. If we didn't have our stuff set up the way it is, the guys back in the day, when it was Silicon and Synapse, could not have formed that company with a check from his grandma. Thank you, Mike Morheim's grandma. to make video games. They had the freedom to be able to set up an entrepreneurial exercise here and actually see if they could make it work. They then became Blizzard Entertainment. They've worked with different... They've never been their own company as far as own companies go, like Bungie is right now. They have had different big publishers they were partnered with over the years.
Okay.
That being said, they've never been truly independent outside of when they were Silicon and Synapse. Here's my problem with what's going on. All of these big news conglomerates all over the world are talking about this. It's because of one thing, Hong Kong. There's a problem in Hong Kong right now. A seventh of the city's population is rioting. And not just rioting, some are being peaceful about it. Some are getting shot in the head about it. So, I understand the riots.
Very different edges of the board here.
Well, you know it's bad when, people just start. Let's put it this way. Currently, China has the military on the border of Hong Kong just waiting for the world to stop paying attention so they can just go in and kill all the people that are causing these problems and move on. Because in communist China, you don't have rights. You're property of the government. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not like it is in America where you are your own sovereign being. You can go do what you want. You still got to pay taxes. Cam can go do what he wants. He can decide to be a hobo under a bridge.
If I wanted to,
sure. I don't know if he would want to do that. He could want, maybe, someday make a trip to Antarctica. But because you're an American, you have the freedom to go do that. The British have the freedom to go do things like that as well. If you're an EU citizen, guess what? You have the freedom to go do those things as well. If you're from Australia, you can do that. Japan, South Korea, all these great countries all over the world. But in Hong Kong and China, you can't. And the reason why you can't is because you don't have rights, essentially. The reason why the people in Hong Kong are protesting about this so much is because a lot of the people alive there were brought up under British rule. And they had the freedoms of the British had. Okay? So, cool. Established. While all this is going on, somebody decides to break terms and conditions, and essentially, his name's Blitzchung, is what he goes by online. I can't pronounce his real name. I'm sorry.
So it's okay.
We know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, we know.
Ultimately, with everything going on, he decides to say, liberate Hong Kong, and go from there. He said something else. I don't have it pulled up in front of me.
It's like Revolution of Our Time or something.
Something along those lines. Long story short, he's banned for a year. The casters are indefinitely banned. Literally, Blizzard's partner company, NetEase, who is essentially, they represent Blizzard in China. Because in China, if you make games, you cannot make a game and sell it in China unless it goes through a Chinese company. That way the state gets a cut. Because the state owns most parts of businesses there. Or at least large chunks of them. Because the Chinese state owns the media. They own the internet. They own all the infrastructure. They own all the cities. You don't own things in China. China owns you. Literally, I'm not joking. So, cool. You've got all this stuff going on. Well, with all this going on, the Chinese department of Blizzard, NetEase, they publish a piece on Weibo, which is their version of Twitter. It's owned by the Chinese government.
Okay.
Figures. They literally, long story short, they published something saying that at this point we will defend our country's pride, and go on this long spiel about Blitzchung and his party stuff, that kind of thing. And Blizzard didn't share that over here, and there was a whole smoke and mirror kind of thing they were trying to pull, and it blew up in their face because they're telling the West one thing, and then their Chinese division is telling China something else. And because we are modern people in the modern age and we have freedoms, we can see both.
We have access to all of that information. Thank you very much.
So unlike China, where they can't see Twitter and they can't see this other stuff unless you're using VPNs, and then they're going to come find you anyway.
They'll know exactly where you are.
Yeah, so we have these problems, right? And they have a firewall in China that essentially blocks access to all this shit. Mm-hmm. Essentially, everything going on, they decided to go extreme on this. They took his winnings, they banned him for a year, blah, 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 even though he was there playing for Hong Kong in this Hearthstone, which, if you don't know what it is, I don't know why you're listening to us, but it's a digital card game like Magic the Gathering. Is the best way I can describe it. It's literally, I don't know why you're listening to me at this point.
That's great. That's wonderful.
But yes, so all of this crap goes on, and I love Kotaku for this because if you pull up Hong Kong, there's an entire timeline of all the articles around this, and this is great for this. So everything going on, essentially, this started in October of 2019. So this was interesting. So I'm going to read the headlines from Kotaku as we go through. In post-game interview, Hearthstone player calls for the liberation of Hong Kong. All right. Blizzard subreddit closes after devs suspend Hearthstone player for pro-Hong Kong statements. They shut the subreddit down because the subreddit was going nuts. Blizzard company values don't mean much today. And yes, I'm going to read this one, or at least part of it. So this is from Luke Plunkett over on Kotaku. All right. So Blizzard has an orc riding a wolf out in the front, and it's got a compass around the base of this statue, and it's got their company values on each point of the compass. And Kevin Hovdestad, I'm sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, he tweeted out, "Not everyone at Blizzard agrees with what happened. Both the Think Globally and Every Voice Matters values have been covered up by incensed employees." There were employee walkouts around this. Not going to go into a whole lot of details around that, but they were also they used the symbolic umbrella as far part of the walkout in support of Hong Kong because they've been using umbrellas to help essentially protect themselves from tear gas canisters and rubber bullets. So you've got that going on. Mm-hmm. All right. And then they have decided in Hong Kong to co-opt Mei from Overwatch into a symbol of the resistance. Which is great because Winnie the Pooh has been banned in China and Hong Kong because the president Xi Jinping of China has been they've done things to make memes to make him look like Winnie the Pooh. And so Winnie the Pooh was one of the most innocent things I've ever seen on this planet, has been banned in China because of that. And the Hong Kong response was, well, if they're going to ban Winnie the Pooh, let's get Overwatch banned so that way it hurts their financials.
Wow, really?
That was the whole motivation behind it. So, and then there was another editorial where Blizzard's Hong Kong missteps for video games aren't neutral. Blizzard Hearthstone caster has quit in protest of Blizzard's Hong Kong punishment. This was big. So, essentially,
I remember that was big.
Brian Kibler, who was one of the biggest Hearthstone casters out there, kind of like how Golden Boy is for Overwatch, he was that for Hearthstone. Okay. And he quit in protest because of everything going on with Blitzchung. And he was supposed to be hosting some of the stuff at BlizzCon. He's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
They had the American students at the school.
University.
Yeah, the university. Who
they were held up and signed with literally what Blitzchung said. And nothing happened to them for a good amount of time until they demanded to be banned. And they actually said, you know what? We were not banned or punished. We will be stepping away from all Blizzard games in our esports game at this college.
Yeah. It took like a week.
No, it was like 2 or 3 weeks.
It was 2 or 3 weeks? Okay, I thought it was
no, it wasn't. It literally happened after J. Allen Brack came on stage at BlizzCon. Wow. Or for his apology and all that. All right. So, yeah, they dropped out of the tournament in protest, and then they said, we're not playing Blizzard games at our esports anymore. Riot came out and said it will not ban casters or players from saying anything involving Hong Kong attitude, even though Riot is 100% owned by the Chinese.
Tencent has a finger in that pie.
Yes, they have 100% of that pie. Hearthstone streamers were responding all over the place. So professional streamers that play Hearthstone exclusively were all over it. Blizzard commented on the Hearthstone debacle. J. Allen Brack released a half-hearted text apology. It was bullshit, really. And dropped everything to 6 months and gave him his $10,000 back. Which, honestly, he should have never taken the money because the kid legitimately earned it. Now, to be fair, he also broke terms of service and what he has agreed to. So Blitzchung is at fault for his punishment. I'm not going to take that away from him. Actions have consequences, no matter what you decide to do.
The big thing was that it felt very excessive.
It was extreme because not only a year in any esport is essentially we've kicked you out permanently because it's such bleeding edge of the meta for those games that if you're not on it, you're not there ever, and you won't get back. So it's hard to get there, and once you're there, you can't step off until it's time to go. All right. So there were protests planned. They were going to have an Overwatch event at the Nintendo store in New York City. It was canceled because people were planning protests, and Nintendo put that blame on Blizzard because Blizzard did not want to deal with the security requirements that was going to cause.
Yep.
So that was Blizzard caved yet again. Blizzard gave 6-month ban to the college team. So after the whole Free Hong Kong thing, it took them forever enough. This is how bad it was. In American politics, you have the far right wing, you have the far left wing, and then occasionally you have someone who's actually a human being in there in the center.
Occasionally.
I'm not going to get into politics and discuss this with you guys. You can agree or disagree. I'm just saying it as I see it. Well, we can all agree that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Marco Rubio are on polar opposites of this spectrum. All right? But for some reason, they agreed that this is not okay. After all this stuff had been out there, and they actually signed a letter to Bobby Kotick, the head of Activision Blizzard, all right, and literally is in regards to J. Allen Brack and this other stuff. So, a tweet from Senator Wyden and a couple others. I'm looking for the actual letter. Here it is. So, this is from the Congress of the United States, dated October 18, 2019. To Robert A. Kotick, CEO of Activision Blizzard. And they actually have it signed Ron Wyden, Marco Rubio, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Mike Gallagher, and Tom Malinowski. How many of those people are on the same side of the fence? They're all over the place. None of these people normally agree on anything. They hate each other. They professionally hate each other. And yet they all agree that this is fucked. And excuse my language, I'm sorry. But yes, so we got all that. A Magic the Gathering pro used his victory to spotlight the Hong Kong thing. Guess what Wizards of the Coast did? Nothing, because they realized that you have freedom of speech. Oh, it gets better. Blizzard lost their sponsorship from Mitsubishi over the Hong Kong stuff. Mitsubishi pulled out of all of the regional stuff in the Asia circuit. All of it. Ooh. They dropped it all. That's a lot of money. Mitsubishi just said, I don't want that.
You won't see it a lot here, but Mitsubishi does a lot of stuff over in Asia.
Oh, no. Well, they're a huge car brand. You know, they may not do a lot in the United States, but they're still a big brand.
Yep.
All right. And so, it gets better. There were protests for the Hong Kong outside of BlizzCon, but you won't see it on any of the official streams. And you won't see any of the stuff because they were confiscating signage in the BlizzCon Center.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Over at Anaheim Convention Center. Yeah, just like they do with anything that's like offensive memes and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're going around confiscating that stuff, too. So, long story short, all this crap going on. And you have all these news outlets from all over the world crapping on this. It's bad enough. I canceled my WoW sub. I uninstalled all the Blizzard games. I had been playing Hearthstone since it was in beta. I had it on my phone ever since it came out. Yep. All that stuff was gone. I literally removed myself from that community and stepped away. It's been extremely frustrating. I've played WoW since vanilla. You're about there.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where I was just like, I literally can't understand why you would think that placating China is okay when literally you had thousands of people from Europe and the United States canceling their accounts. I haven't canceled my account, but I have a lot of stuff on pause, and even though they've apologized, I still have reservations about Blizzard at this moment. And it's a shame because I love this company, but J. Allen Brack is wet toast at this point as far as integrity.
Wow, that's I've never heard that description before. Okay,
I mean, we'll go with that. You know, it was like soggy toast. Mm-hmm. That's where I feel about him as a president of this company. And he's no longer the CEO of Blizzard. Like, that was Mike Morhaim's title. When he took over, he was just president.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Mike Morhaim wasn't president. He was CEO of Blizzard. So, all I got to say, all of this is, I'm extremely disappointed in Blizzard. They deserve every bit of negative press they get. And I love the fact that if you look at the stock over a 2-year trend, they're way down. Hopefully this makes Mr. Kotick, who's in charge of Activision, and, oh, wait, let's step back. they had those record financials earlier this year as well with Blizzard.
Yep.
And what did they do? They laid 800 people off because screw you, we like money.
Yep.
Instead
I
of
was going to say, don't forget about that.
yeah,
That,
that's another thing to put in Blizzard's cap of what they did excellent this year. And yeah, I'm so disappointed in this company. And at this point, you guys got a lot of actions to do. To quote J. Allen Brack, actions have meaning. Maybe you should actually do it. Good luck.
End rant. Oh my god! I don't know how I can.
How many tabs did I have open when I started?
I didn't count. When you started going through, I was like, oh shit, what the hell's going on over here? And I'm like, oh, it was at least like a good 15 to 20 at a first glance. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna beat that.
Oh, my favorite part. I'm sorry, I wasn't done. I forgot this. So, Jeff from the Overwatch team, I love him to death. He came out against freaking J. Allen Brack vocally on Twitter with all of this stuff in this whole situation. I will give him props because he at least has the cojones to say, I don't agree with this publicly to his boss. And guess what? You're not going to get rid of him because right now it's one of those profitable games you make.
Yep. Overwatch is right there.
Also,
with
he was
Hearthstone.
on one of the WoW devs for vanilla, so you get rid of him, you're going to have a mass exodus.
Yep.
Sorry. Have fun.
Yeah, I don't. I promise mine will not be nearly that long, but my winner and my pick for biggest fail this year, we've already talked about it before. That's why it's going to be real easy. Fallout First and Fallout 76. Let me tell you.
Whew. Hang on.
Let me paint a picture for everybody here.
Fake popcorn.
Let me paint a picture here. Is that it's E3 2019. You've got the Bethesda conference, Fallout 76. It took a hit, took some shots at launch, but the developers, they've been actively, hey, we're getting some stuff in, we're getting improvements in the game. Unlike some games like Anthem, we're getting like improvements and making changes to help make it easier for you. And then like E3 2019 comes on stage, you're getting the people hyped, you're showing them all these cool games, and then you walk out on the stage and, you know, of course, there's already been a negative connotation to Fallout 76 because of the launch. You're like, I don't know. So you get on stage, you tell everybody, here we got this awesome new update coming. Here it is. Boom, update rolls through. NPCs are coming to Fallout. That's what everybody's wanted. These new quality of life updates are coming, what everybody's wanted. It's a free update to everyone who has the game. It's what, oh my god, this is great. We're so excited. Like, Fallout 76 is going to be cool because there are so many diehard fans out there with Fallout and Bethesda. And so, like, dude, it's coming out later this year. Don't worry. We've got you guys covered. We heard you loud and clear. We're going to make these changes. Pretty good, right? You're pretty excited. Awesome. Let's go to the fall. Guess what, kids? That huge update where we had planned to give you guys, we're going to delay that to 2020. Not going to give you a date, just going to delay it to 2020. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, why don't you pay us $12.99 a month for Fallout First, which has a lot of the stuff that you wanted in the first place. The private servers
that are not private servers.
You had the great article in there. I'm going to pull that back up here from Forbes and Paul Tassi here. The private servers were a feature. The scrap box, if you wanted unlimited storage. You also get like 1,650 atoms per month, which is their premium currency. For that game, if I'm right in saying that, I believe I'm right in saying that. I'm trying to pull up all the list of everything that you're supposed to get in this. Private World, Scrapbox, Survival Tent, a new placeable fast travel point with a stash, sleeping bag, and more. Your 1,650 atoms, Ranger armor outfit, icons, and emotes. That's it. For $12.99 a month, for $100 a year. I do not play Fallout 76. Do not play Fallout games. I played Fallout 4. Wasn't my cup of tea. Maybe give it another shot later on, but just wasn't my cup of tea right now. I asked like people in our Discord channel and our groups, like, hey, all the Fallout 76 players, what do you guys think about this? And it was immediately met with like your most diehard people like, this is bullshit. why is this a thing? Why do I have to pay $100 a month or $100 a year to get features that I've wanted? Like,
They were promised.
I think the big thing for me, like all the stuff you echoed at the beginning, like, yeah, I was like, yes. The big thing for me is the fact that you pushed a free update that had NPCs and a lot of the stuff that your customer base wanted. You delayed that to release this shit? You gotta be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. That is almost, in my opinion, that is the epitome of greed right there. Is that, oh, we're going to push this free update for our game that's been struggling because of the issues that we've had with it at launch and so far. We're going to push this update with all these features and updates that you guys have wanted to an undisclosed amount of time in 2020, but instead ask you to pay us more money so that we can give you stuff that you've wanted, but not really. I don't understand. I don't. It is freaking ridiculous why Fallout First is a thing. It should never have been a thing. Full stop.
If anything, it should have been honestly something they were like, look, guys, if you want private servers, it's going to cost money. It's going to be a few bucks a month. Over enough people using it, we'll break even. You know, we'll rent some space from AWS, Amazon Web Services. We'll make it work. But the problem you have is that you're charging for virtual server space that doesn't, it's not guaranteed, and if the person who's using it logs out, it goes away.
Let me read you the paragraph here that Paul Tassi of Forbes wrote in his article, because it paints a pretty clear picture why we're upset, especially about the private servers. There are a few issues cropping up here. Fallout First players are finding that a newly created world they might be heading into is not actually new at all. Players are reporting dead NPCs and looted areas when they get there, implying that these are not actually new instances, but instead reused old instances masquerading as brand new private worlds. The private aspect is up for debate too. Players with big friends lists, i.e. merchants who sell players goods in the game, are finding that they can't prevent people from joining their private servers when they just want to relax and play by themselves or with a few friends. Without some sort of invisible mode, other players can see your instance and join it. What the fuck? No one in their right mind should pay $12.99 a month or $100 a year for that. And that's your biggest selling point in this service. And it should have been a part of the free update with the NPCs and the quality of life changes that you had promised people at E3. It's basically like you got people so hyped up at E3 for all these changes. Dude, these changes are coming. And then you literally pulled the rug from under them, put a gun to their head and said, give me $100 a year if you want these features. And I think that's crap. And the other concern I have with this is if they're going to come in and say, hey, that update that we promised you guys was free, we're tying it into Fallout First. Some of those changes, now, the NPCs, they can't do that, but some of the other quality of life stuff, they put it in Fallout First. They do that, I don't even know what to say to Bethesda. I think that Bethesda has been having a slow decline. When Fallout 76 launched, they had a rough launch there. The whole issue with the bag debacle that we've talked about on the podcast before. Oh, God, people were getting sued and that literally is false advertising.
They earned that lawsuit, and I hope they lose.
Oh, that is straight up false advertising, and you can go to jail for that.
Please go to jail. I want the head of Bethesda to go to jail because he earned it. It's okay. It'd be white collar jail. I bet he's rich.
The non-apology that Todd Howard gave for the game. Let me actually pull this up. It was at E3 2019 because I remember. I'm trying to get the quote here. At the start. Bethesda tried to convince gamers it's sorry, but the launch they predicted de facto. Spokesman Todd Howard started by focusing on how great the players are rather than discussing the game they played. Subsequently, head developers came on stage to discuss its latest update. It was the new free update was supposed to include a new quest line, dialogue trees, a battle royale component, NPCs in the area. Like all this stuff. It's just, and like a lot of these features. Oh, I forgot about the battle royale thing because it actually looked semi cool.
No, it's garbage. It looks like garbage. It looks like Fallout strapped onto Fortnite, and I'm not okay with that. Be
cool.
original.
It looks. I mean, I'm using cool in the stringiest of words here. Wasn't actually gonna play it, but I can't. Like, I cannot believe. Like we talked last year. We had such an outrage about like loot boxes and microtransactions on Game of the Year 2018. This is just as ludicrous.
Oh no,
if not more.
is.
Like, cannot believe that in a year where we basically have more or less kind of seen the decline of microtransactions in main game conversations, period, that a large popular gaming publisher with one of the most popular brands in the world would do something like this. I could not believe it when it happened. I don't even play the game, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" Fucking crazy. That is my pick.
It's a good choice.
So that is it for biggest fail. Let's do our recap here. My runners up, Anthem's launch woes and Google Stadia launch, with my winner for biggest fail being Fallout 76, the Fallout First paid subscription. Will, give us your recap.
All right. So it's Fallout 76's paid subscription woes, Anthem's launch woes, and then Blizzard's whole Blitzchung debacle / 2019 in general. They were just garbage across the board. And I expect more from a company that honestly has made millions over the years on, honestly, their freedoms, than to just go in and slap someone down and using the Chinese Communist Party to do it. I'm disappointed. I'm upset. And honestly, at this point, you got some splaining to do.
Ooh, we got the negative Nellies out, so we're good. We're good for the next episode, guys. That is it for part 2 of Game of the Year 2019 conversations here at Rocket Punch. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening here. We've got part 3, the last part before we get into our official Game of the Year talk. So part 3 will be some good ones. I think we're gonna have some good conversations. Best indie game.
Mm-hmm.
Developer of the Year.
Yep.
And what I'm pulling up my list here. So best indie game, developer of the year, and best narrative.
Yep.
So those are going to be some really good conversation points here, especially with best narrative. Go ahead and get your spoiler warning ready because those are going to be spoiler heavy. So make sure you've played some of those games before we jump into that one, or you might just have to skip that section of the conversation entirely. But thank you guys so much for joining us for part 2. We'll see you in part 3.
Laters.